Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Love Island UK Season 10, episodes 10 to 12, Chris. Now, where would you like to start today?
Well, Dave, the person I'd like to talk about, and we'll probably spend most of our time talking about him, is good old Mitchell. So sort of, felt a little bit sorry for him with Zach, the way that happened. And Molly obviously wants all the airtime, and that's quite apparent as every episode comes on. She's got to pop up from somewhere and do her thing. She's quite aware. I've got no problem with someone being aware of Love Island, because that's what it is. It's the lifestyle afterwards. She's doing her thing, and that's it. But Mitchell, to me, is coming across as a complete cock. So the first episode back in was obviously after the voting, and Molly got saved. And it's a way, as much as I don't like Zach, he turned around to Zach and went, "You're welcome, bro. I did it. It wasn't my Molly. It was your Molly that I saved.
Zach's Molly."
Yeah, Zach's Molly. I'm like, what a fucking bellend. And made it worse when he spoke to Molly. He made it out like he was doing it for her. And I'm like, you're a fucking cock, mate. And as he's gone on, he's a needy, fucking whiny fucking wanker, Dave. I'm sorry, he is. He's just a dick. And as this week's gone on, it's not a good look for him at the moment at all.
You know what, Chris? I think I'm on a bit of a journey with Mitchell, because I think pretty much from episode 1, I said there's something off. Like he's coming across like this nice guy, but there's something off about him. And I just don't trust him or like him. And then we thought, right, he's definitely playing the game of couple up early, try and become that power couple, and that's his tactic there. And then you see his snaky behavior, and just as you've said there, it's like, oh, you fucking snaky bastard. I mean, he did a few things, didn't he? The fact that and the editors know what they're doing, don't they? The fact that he's gone to Zach, said, oh, yeah, I did it for you. It's like this selfless martyrdom act that I've done. And then he's basically saying to Molly, like, I'm all in for you. And, but we can keep it on the down low. I'm like, oh, you fucking snaky bastard. And then, later, I mean, in the last episode that we saw, he's saying to Jess, like, when all these other options seem to be gone, Leah's not interested, Charlotte's not interested. He's like, I'd like to get to know you. And it's like, it's almost as if it's got to 10 to 2 at night, and he's trying his best to just couple up with anyone. It's virgin on comedy for me, Chris, because I've gone past the point where I'm like, oh, you are the snakiest of snakes. And when Sammy pulls him, and calls him out, for like being a bit of a snake, and I apologize to you, bro. It just sounds fucking weird. And, because you're my guy. He fucking says that to everyone. And it's like, yeah, but you go around being a fucking snake, but then acting like everyone's best mate. He is the most untrustworthy person in there, by a country mile. But Chris, he's fucking Gareth from The Office. He is so lacking self-awareness. I'm kind of starting to enjoy him because it's just pure comedy. And I kind of want to see him continue to crash and burn.
Yeah, and I must admit, Dave, when he was talking to Molly, when apparently he saved her, and you can see she's just looking like, what are you talking about? I'm not her biggest fan, but I get where she's coming from. She's just looking like, but I'm with Zach. Like, what more do we need? Are you that fucking desperate? I know at this point Zach is with Charlotte because of the recoupling. We get that. I understand it. No problem. But I'm like, come on. It's fucking ridiculous. It really was so dramatic, completely over the top. I will say, though, Dave, Sammy has got a hell of a body on him. I've got to say, Dave.
Yeah. I think that was obvious even from his first introduction. It was like, oh, Christ, it must have a low number percentage body fat, that's for sure.
Oh, he looks good. Yeah, he does look good. But I don't like Sammy either, Dave. I'll be honest with you. he talks in all the cliches, doesn't he? Everything's a cliche for him, and he's trying to like please everybody, and he's always smiling, and he's like, look, I'm quite a happy person, but like, you're not always that fucking happy, mate. Come on. I don't know. There's something a bit off with Sammy, I think. And I know he made a play for Leah later on, but they're all in it together, aren't they? Zach's got no loyalty to Molly. Mitchell's just fucking desperado, man. And now this Sammy's coming there, and he just wants to stay in the villa.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a gaggle of bell ends, isn't it? I mean, it is so good. But Sammy with his fucking bright white turkey teeth and weird 90s curtains. It's just, he is utterly untrustworthy. And I'm afraid at some point he's going to screw over Jess. I really like Jess. She seems more down to earth and sort of tells it how it is. But I just don't really trust that Sammy at all, and she seems to actually be softening to him. And, she'd been on the date. New guy, Scott, comes in, doesn't he? And then, taking Jess off for a date. And Sammy just took that as an invitation to go off to speak to Leah for 2 hours or something. Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? And I tell you what, Dave, just moving on slightly, I swear to God, I've got to say, now, you know this, we're married, partners, everything. I know when Sam's pissed off with me, Dave. I know you with yourself, your partner, and you know yourself when you're in the doghouse. You know that it's like, is everything all right? Yep. And he's like, are you sure? Yep. And you're like, oh shit, what have we done? Yeah, fine. I'm absolutely fine. And you know that within 2 hours you're going to get the full on both barrels. I've left the towel on the floor, or I've kicked the dog's food over or something. There's something coming, Dave, that I'm going to get a bit of a fucking bollocking. Ella has got the greatest fucking resting bitch face ever. That poor girl. I mean, Ty has played her, and he was wrong, like the way that happened. I know Leah picked him, and it was part of the game, and she's been fuming, and we talked about it. But honestly, Dave, I find it comical because I kept thinking, if I was with Ella, I'd probably be in trouble all the time because she would be getting a bollocking off her. I mean, she's really, I think it's knocked her confidence. Her and Rishi, obviously Rishi went, but it's really, really knocked her confidence because I think she was all in on Ty, and he's just taking the piss out of her, to be honest. I'm not a massive fan of how he's gone about this, but it is Love Island. It's about exploring different people. It may change if someone comes into her, but at the moment, it really looks like it's knocked her for six, this whole little triangle she's in.
Yeah, these are an interesting couple and not a couple you want to go out with because at some point they're going to end up fucking arguing. So, yeah, I don't like Ty's role in this, to be honest. I think he was coming out with the usual Love Island thing of, we kind of need to be tested, if someone comes in. It's kind of how I feel. That's what he was saying a couple of episodes ago. And when they come into Love Island and they say, oh, I've slept with 500 people or something, but I've never been in a relationship. With Ty, I could kind of believe that because I just think he's never used to having a deep relationship with anyone because all of his conversations, all of his chat is very like superficial or surface level. There's nothing to him at all. And the fact that, it was a bit annoying that when he picks Ella, she's like, oh, all is forgiven, and it's like, oh, forget about all this shit. But then when she has a chat with Scott, doesn't she? And then she's sort of saying, she's having the open conversation with Ty about, we'll be open, I'll chat to him. He sees his fucking arse, doesn't he? Yeah. He gets really fucking angry and then, puts a time limit on it and stuff and then storms off.
Don't make any sense, does it? It does, and we always say this. People's standards. I said loads of times to Love Island that. Are we all as bad, Dave? Is it all a case of do as I say, not as I do? Because that's what's going on here with a lot of the characters in this show this year. And you're right, though. The one thing that slips under the radar it's actually pretty enjoyable and getting me angry and annoyed at different people, as we said in the last episode. So they're doing the job this season. I think the casting so far has been pretty good. We've got a right, different variations of people and personalities. I mean, one of them, Dave, who I want to ask you about this as well. So we lead on to what we'll talk about. But Jess, so I've been a fan of Jess. I like the way she's called Molly out because we know what Molly's doing. She's a faker. We know that she's got this background within the TV production. But it was something that I think it was Layla said on our Facebook chat, Dave, about the episode saying, and obviously don't mind me talk about this, but she said, basically, I think they're being a bit mean to Molly. Jess is like sniping at her all the time. I think she's a bit jealous now. I'm paraphrasing what she said, but I could see that in one of the episodes. I did think that. I thought this could be perceived the other way if this carries on. Like the Mean Girls stuff, Dave, and that. But what was interesting was I quite like Jess. I think she just says it as it is, and she's called Molly out. And it might be that she's thinking, maybe she's playing a game, Jess, and she's thinking, she's getting all the airtime here. This bloody triangle she's in is like we know it's going to take it away from what we're all doing because she's front and center. She's crying. She's got everyone running around after her, Molly. So maybe Lena's right, but I found her quite honest and down the line. And what was interesting was when Catherine and Whitney pulled her the next day, because Molly had decided to go to the daybed. She made a big drama out of it because Zach was with Charlotte and he didn't follow her. She didn't want to stay with Mitchell, who she's been with all week. And then she's just doing that. She's basically just doing that for, effect sort of thing. She knows what she's doing. She called her out, and I was thinking the same thing, thinking, oh, here we go. Over dramatic again. We've got the film, the art student again doing a thing, and she's just playing up to the cameras. I did think that, but then it got me thinking, I was thinking, yeah, possibly. However, when Catherine and Whitney sort of spoke to her, I think they were trying to help her, and it just went the wrong way, and she started crying. She was having none of it. Maybe it was a bit of sour grapes because they were speaking to her as she spoke to other people. I'm not sure. But I did love the interaction of Whitney when Maddie got really annoyed because she was crying. And it's like, if I find out, and Whitney's story, the recollection of the story was not how it played out. But they weren't nasty to her. They were trying to be friends. And Jess so I think she took it slightly the wrong way. But I didn't think personally they were that bad. It was a little bit direct, but Jess has been, and it was like, honestly, Whitney had me crying because I was like, he's like, so what's happened? And she's like, well, no, tell me. And she couldn't tell him in the right way. She was trying to make it look like they were being these dead sincere friends. I don't know. The whole thing was just comedy for me, Dave. It was so funny.
The fact that we care about this stuff,
I know, it's ridiculous.
It's great. No, there's just this people watching and the interactions and the politics. It's all fucking great, really, isn't it? I mean, again, I am genuinely enjoying this season, I have to say. Which I coming into it, I never thought I'd say that, especially not. We're just into the 12th episode now, aren't we? So. Going into the third week, I didn't think I'd be in that position. But, sorry to keep going back to the whole Mitchell, Molly and Zach thing, but I thought it was fucking funny after Zach made his master plan play. And then Molly just fucking said, right, I'm sleeping outside. He's like, oh, you bastard. I thought it was good. I thought it was in for a bit of a cuddle there. We could rekindle last week's, sort of sentiment. But what did you think, Chris, when Charlotte had come in and then chose Zach, and then they're in their fucking gym bit?
Oh,
and she's like,
God.
oh, do I use both hands? And Zach's like giving her some squatting tips or whatever. And Molly is stood in the doorway like some fucking horror movie.
Yeah. So to get the kitchen knife out, it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
And then it's going to Jess and stuff. And then that's talking about Jess, that's what's just reminded me. And she's like, oh, look over there. And then when Charlotte goes away, she's been fed up of being fucking peered at, eyes burning into the back of her head. And Jess is like, I think you should go back. Just stoking the fire a bit. But I thought it was funny because in that one episode, we got Mitch being unbelievably insecure and clingy. But then Molly just reflected the same thing, but, in Zach's direction. So, yeah, I thought that was really funny.
And you're right about that, because Molly has been like really in control, hasn't she? Nothing seems to have phased her, but that did. It shows that she likes Zach. There's no way she's into Mitchell at all. And it was brilliant.
She's giving him the ick.
Yeah, she's going to stay with him so she can get back with Zach, and that'll be it. End of story. But yeah, I am liking Mehdi though, Dave. I think he's coming across quite. I was calling him out. I said in the last episode, I called him out at the start, but I think he comes across as quite grown up, which is ironic for Love Island, Dave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. Good.
You know what else is good about this cast, Chris? Because in the last season, I mean, I'd almost given up on the whole franchise, because I think because there's so many seasons now, and there's so many events that happen, like that are iconic one way or the other. So the positive iconic events, will they get replicated? Like you say, hunt the fucking slipper sort of thing. Well, that's coming at some point. But then when people behave like dicks, people who've watched the show are like, right, I need to think back to that moment, and let's not act like a dick like that. And I know how this can come across on the screen and stuff. So the tactical game playing comes into it so much more. And Casa Amor last season was just a fucking waste of time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No one. I don't think anything happened. I can't. People who were couples remained couples, and people who were single coupled up. There was almost nothing that happened, even though it's still the best episode because of some of the things that happened in there. But I think for this one, I think all bets are off. I think this bunch of shithouses will do whatever the fuck they want. I mean, people like, Mitchell, he's got no loyalties to anyone, so just hopefully he does make it, like say, for the comedy. But Ty, Zach. There's no way they're not going to have a wandering eye. And
No.
Molly, I don't know. I kind of feel like Molly isn't gonna. She does genuinely seem to like Zach, but I don't know. I think if something better comes along, I think she'd be open to it.
Yeah. It's really, really bizarre. And like just you talking about it, knowing the conversations we had off the podcast, it's like he's involved. So, Dave, I have done my job this season. Anyway, Dave, just before we get into the end, we've got a couple of emails. We did get a couple of people voted off. So we ended up with 3 lads, 3 girls. We had Charlotte, Leah, and Catherine, Andre, Zach, and Sammy. And honestly, I think the way and you can see with Rishi, the way the editors are out, Andre's not really featured, Dave, which was sad, really. He came in quite a good guy. He's gone. And then Charlotte, who's done absolutely nothing other than get with Zach. We've not seen any real airtime of her. And she's gone as well. So, yeah, it was a very quick. I thought they were going to drag this out till Sunday, because it's Friday night.
Me too.
Sunday. Honestly, I said to Sam, and then Sam's like looking at the time going, no, they're going these. And we're like, and I was gutted when they went. So I'm like, oh, right, Dave, and I'm wrong again. But there you go.
You know what? I was almost going to drop in a message about 10 minutes from the end into the group and just say, oh, it's going to be a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Maybe they've listened, not to us, but like the public. It's like, stop making cliffhangers when there's no real need to, when it's a cliffhanger, make us really care about it. I mean, for me, I think it was obvious Charlotte was going. I was less sure about the guys. I thought, well, Zach's definitely staying in because Molly would, make sure of that. But then I wasn't sure with the others, so I don't know. I think, no, Jess would pull pretty hard, wouldn't she, for keeping Sammy in. So yeah, if I'd have thought about it for longer than a second, as I just have done, then it was obvious Andre was going as well. So I think the producers have probably just said, look, there's nothing in this, it's obvious the way it's going to go. So let's keep a cliffhanger for when there's real kind of tension.
Yeah. Good call. I approve of that. Get it boxed off by the end of the week, and then we're not left waiting then. Plus, it was a cliffhanger. Nobody really cared. Right? You're completely right. I agree. So, Dave, we've had 3 emails. So the first one is from our great friend, Pascal. Hey, Chris and Dave, great to be back. What a season already. Such a shame we lost Rishi. Such a good Islander. It seems like all the old rules have gone out the window. We should expect anything this season. Got loads to say, but not going to say anything. Just happy to be back with the CD Reality Cast fam. Mitch has to go. Molly and Zach are as bad as each other. Ty and Ella, dark horses to win. Jess, he's put hashtag reality radar, Dave, with the little eyes. So I own that, Pascal. Well, let's set this as an admission. I like that. Jess is the people's champ. Really good down-to-earth Islander, stroke finalist. Keep up the good work and catch up soon.
That's great. And I have to say, probably when that came in, I was with getting Mitch out. Definitely. He was just being irritating. It's just literally this. I think you know what it was, Chris. It was when he said to Jess that he wants to get to know her. I was just like, "Oh, you need to stay in because you're just comedy," and it is coming across like a proper desperado move now. So, yeah, I was in agreement, but then being flaky, I've changed my mind on it.
Well, Dave. Our good friend Neri, she's got a graduation, Dave, and a diploma. And she's
nice.
So the email is Bish 3.0. Recent graduate from the Luca Bish School of Man Styling. Let's welcome Scott. It is unconfirmed if Scott is a level 2 graduate majoring in man-baby insecurities and possessive tendencies. Let's wait and see. Chris and Dave, I'm so happy to have you back on the pod. Looks like it's going to be a great cringeworthy season, and no one does it better than you two, so thank you for that. Also, next time anyone asks about my spirit animal, the answer is rhinoceros. I can't remember who said it, but the way they all agreed was hysterical. Can't talk. I've got to go trademark rhinoceros before it's extinct. Ciao, Neri. So great email.
That's fantastic.
And the last one is from our good friend Karens. But hi, guys. I've said it before, but I'm saying it again. And I'm going to do this in the words of Roger Murtagh, Dave. I'm too old for this shit. Anyway, she said, just say crap. But there you go. So why the hell am I watching, especially when it gets me so angry? Have they not watched this show before? Why are they so surprised to see the same thing that has happened in every series before? Guess what? The viewers vote for, and the least favourite might go home. And guess what? You're going to have to pick Shop. I can't stand Mitchell. I really hope he goes soon. He's tried very hard with Molly and tried with Leah. And all of a sudden, because he's going nowhere, he switched to what's her name, the other blonde, Jess Karen. He tried to look stunned, upset and shocked when either Sammy, Zach or Angie are about to get voted off when we all love it to be both Zach and Sammy. Oh, well, I guess I'm heading for an angry summer as I no doubt I'll continue to watch this shit. I'm pleased that you guys don't seem to be enjoying it either. When will we learn? Karen, so great email.
That is fantastic. I don't know. I was saying I'm enjoying it, but I kind of have the same sentiment as well. I'm like, oh, you bunch of arseholes. Even with the Mitchell thing, I'm like, oh, you fucking arsehole. But I know that he needs to stick around.
He does. So if you want to email us, guys, thank you for them emails. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, @cdrealitycast. So today's roll call of honor is Amanda, Larissa, Helen, Alex, Macy, Nicola, Emma, Fiona, Cassie, Megan, Kate, Maggie, Kristen, Zoe, Gillian, Keith, Helen, Brianna, Chloe, Noreen, Joanna, Libby, Katie, Dee Dee, Susan, Lauren, Lucky Lulu Green, and Kent Gustafson. So thank you so much, guys. That list is unbelievable. And there's no way, if we get a few more, I can actually do it in one breath. So thank you so much. And that's a testament to all you guys.
Awesome. Well, it was good to be back and chat a bit at Love Island with you, Chris. So thanks to you, sir. Thanks to everyone out there for listening. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.